So hello again, Chuck. Aloha to Hawaii.
Betty, good to see you.
Thanks again for being with us so short time because in 1 week we will see each other again. And this is
A
actually,
week and a half, actually.
yes, it's the time of the year, especially for us Europeans, because you are coming live to Germany. So it's Christmas and Germany in the summer, which is our high time. And it's an 8 day workshop which you are giving in at Lake Bodensee, actually in Germany. And the theme is loving yourself and everything will fall into place, which we're going to talk about today. Please
Hmm.
you
Um,
advise
th-
us how to come in.
think of it this way. If you're not loving yourself, everything you do is sacrifice.
Yeah.
If you're loving yourself, everything you do is love.
Mhm.
So areas where you're in sacrifice, where you're burdened, you're trying to do it all yourself, but you're not including yourself. You're not loving yourself. So many people in the last 2 weeks, they came in with different themes, but it was all about where they had stopped including themselves. In the client I just worked with, it was, she had stopped including herself because of these traumas.
Mhm.
And then self-love dissolves. Now, she and I had begun or actually ended the conversation because we were talking about how she had to try to help her mother had taken on her mother's illness.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I mean, some of that is passed down ancestrally, but some of that with our immediate family is just introjected, it's swallowed, and it's not ours
But how come? Why would we do that?
because all of us, the number one built-in energy we have is to save the family.
Mhm.
Do you know anybody who saved their family?
No, not in their ways. No, no.
I was a hot mess at trying to save my family. And
Mhm.
I tried everything, sacrifice, martyring myself, things like that. But
Did you manage to save them? And if yes, how? How? What is the way to save them actually in
well, it's a work in progress. But it's the number one conspiracy, which means a trap set up so good it looks like there's no way out. And then there's another conspiracy that actually is the 1-2 punch of the ego to knock us out of the game, to keep us from showing up, to keep us from living our purpose and feeling an expansive, fulfilled life. And that is the Oedipal conspiracy, which is if it's all that's all subconscious, but it's based on competition and loss bonding that is passed down through the family.
Mhm.
And when that happens, love and sex get separated. And then we think success is hard work.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, hard work industry is only called for at the beginning of a new project or when we're starting out as kids and how much we give ourselves
Mhm.
to our learning.
Mhm.
All of the traumas of our lives. Betty, if I ask you, how many traumas, heartbreaks, etc., have you had in your life?
20,000 comes up.
Heilige Scheiße. You know, that means those are places you stop loving yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then that just leaves chaos. You haven't ever been in chaos, have you?
A lot.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, the Course in Miracles suggests that we invite in the Holy Spirit into our mind, you know, hundreds of times a day, because that reorders things and order and truth go together. Where there's truth, there's order. where there is true order, there's truth. So a lot of us like to be chaotic. But like Nietzsche said, one must have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star.
That's good. Yeah.
I've always used that as a rationalization for being so messy. But they say that you can tell how creative a person is by how messy their desk is. And believe me, very creative here. Just
Yeah. Yes. Well.
so yeah. For years, like I was blocked with, I had a writing block, but now it just, all I have to do is sit down with a pen, give myself a theme, and the inspiration just pours through.
Mhm.
And that I really enjoy writing because I don't enjoy editing so much. It's correcting myself and making things, you know. I just finished the nightlight newsletter for June and I did like 9 drafts. Yeah. Because I'll write it and then I'll realize, oh, I understand what all that means, but nobody else will. So I better fill in.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
So I went from 5 pages up to 9 pages.
I'm looking
But
for
all of those times, Betty, you stopped loving yourself. What was the biggest, worst one in your life? How old were you? That, you know, that was devastating.
one comes up. Mhm.
So it's one represents your sense of identity
Mhm. Mhm.
and who you came to be. So what was going on around you that blew you away?
War, a family war, not
Mm.
saving them. So they were in war. Mhm.
So how much do you need safety?
It's just my number one word, what I need.
Yeah. Now, so all your life you've been trying to get safety and security. But the word security in Latin, one of the ways that you can look at it is it comes from se, which is self, se, caro, which is self-caring.
Mhm. Mhm.
And what I have learned is where you have a major gift, the ego attacks you so that you don't show up. So you're wounded.
Mhm.
And the gift is never opened. You never become aware of it because there's a landslide. There's an avalanche on top of it. And you don't want to go near it because it's painful. It's just 1 year old, the family war. Oh man. And again, if there's this principle inside us that wants to save the family, help the family,
Mhm.
which, I may have, in all my 55 years, may have heard one person who had a bonded family.
Wow.
One person. I wasn't sure because I couldn't check it out because it happened in an interview. I was in Taiwan, she was in London, and but what she described was a bonded family. I was so surprised. So we came to bring the bonding. Hmm. So here's a way to do it, to restore your self-love. See, you've been trying to get security. I just wrote a chapter in the last hour, chapter title. Like I can be doing sessions with people and I get, wow, that's a great thought for a chapter title. So this is the ones I've gotten in the last 2 days about chapter titles. Each one has a name on it.
So you did a lot of sessions. Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, no, I didn't do that many sessions, maybe 8 sessions. Shattered Dreams, great title. Throwing Yourself Away, which is what you did at one. What percentage of yourself did you throw away?
Yeah, 100. Mm.
100% you threw yourself away.
Mm.
So that means part of yourself died.
Yeah.
So the self you would come to be, boop, gone.
Mhm.
And then, our mind is prolific. You'll have another self to lead the way, but it gets more and more into the ego the more times you've been wounded.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So, and this sense of identity is gone. The sense of rightness and centeredness. You haven't ever felt like you were off your center, have you?
How
Never, never. I know. Okay.
you know that best, exactly. Yeah.
So this this evening for you, this morning for me, how many steps are you off your center?
What comes up now is those 20,000.
Okay. So let's how are you gonna get yourself back 20,000 steps? That would take you to 10 days to
Mhm.
do that. But how about we do this? How about we take who do you want to call it? Jesus, Mary.
Mary, Mary Magdalene.
So the Mary and Mary Airlines,
Mhm.
Mary, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. So you can get a first class ticket. Everybody has a first class ticket on their airlines and fly from where you are now with yourself 20,000 steps and to join yourself. So you click into place. So you're in alignment with yourself.
Mhm.
You have a certain attunement with yourself. I mean, you've never asked your partner for something and actually you wanted something else. You've never done that, have you? And he has to be a mind reader to know you really wanted that over there instead of this or what you're asking for. And that's what happens when we're off our center.
Mhm.
We become disenchanted with life because we're and disappointed. I mean, how many people that I talk to feel like failures?
Yeah.
Feel like they missed the boat. And it starts off with this sense of, I failed my family.
Mhm.
Because that's like a fountain of guilt that always keeps, rising up. But there are ways to heal it. Here's one. Ask um, the Marys,
Mhm.
Sweet Mary and Saucy Mary, that you be returned to God's path, which contains holy family bonding. First thing. It also has peace and miracles
Mhm.
and love. So, well, that's a big step.
It feels easy peasy.
It is easy peasy. And what is the soul gift you brought in for your family?
It's flowering. It's flower again. It's a flower garden. Just
Yeah. And this is the month of flowering as this the full moon this month was called the flower moon.
Mhm.
And the energy I felt as I wrote the May Nightlight newsletter was that this is all about flowering. June is all about possibilities and fruition,
Mhm.
but we got to get ourselves back. Okay. So, on God's path, there's miracles, there's peace, there's the restoration of ourselves.
Yeah.
I have my cat here, just deciding he wants to go to the window and watch the birds. In Japan, their probably number one word for mushi is hanazono, which is flower garden,
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
which is true. Okay, so where did that self that died, where did you bury it in your body?
My heart.
So would you ask Mother Mary to come into you and blow the sacred breath of life into your heart, into yourself that died, and bring that self back to life?
Mhm. Yeah. Wow.
See, This would have, without healing, this would have created a heart condition later. But now you got your heart back. How's that feel?
Yeah, it feels like expanding, like I'm blown up by her.
And Mother Mary will carry that 1 year old who's now alive, and with divine love, it will bring this self up to yourself now so it can melt into place. And it will reconnect wires. First of all, it will open the channel greater between you and heaven, you and guidance, you and the answers.
Yeah, I feel adult now. This part feels adult and grown up.
And it will reconnect wires in your heart, your mind, and your body.
Yeah.
So here's a question I frequently ask after I do this recover selves that have died. Um, how many illnesses did that save you by reconnecting those wires in your heart, mind, and body?
20,000.
Wow. You would have been an invalid.
Yeah. Maybe not this life, but some.
Yeah, one after the other. Okay, so now what's the soul gift? I mean, at one, and this is what kids do, how much did you blame yourself for this family war?
All of it. Um,
Hmm. So that's a lot of guilt. Now, did God create guilt? So if God didn't create guilt, is it true? Or is it just an illusion the ego made up to capture us and imprison us and have us working, be its slave
Yeah, I can feel
rather?
this layer coming up now. It's really exactly so much guilt. Yeah. Mm.
Mhm. So let's take that guilt and take it to God's trading post. He always trades up. And for all this guilt, what does he give you back in return?
Freedom.
Ooh.
Good one. Yes.
And when you feel free, when you have received this gift of freedom, all you want to do is free others. I'm out of prison. Let's get you out of prison. When you have a gift, your gifts free people around you. It also frees yourself.
Yeah, it feels like being free for being myself and not needing to loving my.
And you're the gift
Mhm.
that you're the miracle that God created to free everybody. Now, the opposite of that guilt, which is is innocence. Now, there's an aspect when we have chronic problems, when we have toxic problems, when we have wounds that won't heal. What I have found in my 55 years is that there's what is called the astral.
Mhm. Mhm.
And this was the name that my friend Werner gave it. Yeah, and this is the time before birth. This is the time where after we fell out of oneness, we didn't get thrown out by God. That's God would have to go against himself because he's oneness. So we couldn't make separation. So we fell and we wanted to follow this path of separation. I mean, why would we do a stupid thing like that? Because it really hurt. Each separation really hurt. Is that we get to do things our way. We get to be separate. We get to be special. See, in oneness, you can't be special. So, I mean, this is just one way of understanding. People will decide what they think about this. So,
Big price to pay.
It's a big price to pay. And we kept falling, and there's a lot of darkness.
Yeah.
Like at one, how much darkness came up in your life?
uh, Overwhelming. I would just see it, it was just darkness. There's just
Yeah.
losing
And how much of that was from even before you had bodies and lifetimes?
80% comes up.
Hmm. So now you could ask Mother Mary
Mhm.
to stand in front of you and take all of that darkness into herself, into her light. Because what happens, she knows that's just a call for help. She knows it's a call for love. And so that darkness, as it hits her light, just becomes light. And see, when you have a big purpose and when you have so many problems, that's just the ego's way of stopping you from your purpose, which is your happiness, your fulfillment. See, everything we're trying to get is what would make us happy to give. So, our need in life, your need for safety, guess who came to bring safety? And you're safe when you're innocent.
Mhm.
When you're innocent, you're harmless. And by not judging and attacking, uh, you're just radiating. And then that's what comes back to you. You reap what you sow.
Mhm.
My cat is busy tearing up the room here.
You want to talk to the podcast.
Yeah, he's walked by a couple of times on the desk. So, back at one, did you have a gift of safety for your family? Because you fight the most when you're frightened, and the ego's made up of fear. The ego pretends, oh, I'm going to help you get out of your fear. But then it needs fear to keep itself going. And the only way that it can get over on us that we're doing that we're trying to get two opposite things at once, is that he uses dissociation. So we cut ourselves off from ourselves, from enjoyment, from love, from receiving. But if you give the gifts you have, basically you free yourself out of these prisons that we've made for ourselves. Everything is self-imprisonment. The ego wants to lock us up and keep us away from reaching out, helping somebody else. So, so Betty, can you see that your gift of safety got buried, avalanched, and so does your gift of innocence? Imagine that. The ego has said, you're guilty, you're sinful, you're guilty. And in dynamics, we can't have an illness unless we feel guilty. We're punishing ourselves. It isn't some random illness. And so you can change that. That's the good news. You and heaven will make it easy. But take out your gift of safety and innocence. Anything else pop in that was a gift for your family?
Yeah, unconditional love, of course.
Okay, powerful. And the thing is, innocence and self-love go together. If you have one, you'll have the other. And in A Course in Miracles, it says if you want to heal your your illnesses, restore self-love. And that's what we're going to be doing because everything that isn't happy is really an illness. And we think at some deep level, which is a mistake, we think we deserve it, which is crazy. I mean, that's just the ego's insane. It's heading us toward death.
But that's coming out of the guilt, maybe.
Exactly. in the Bible, the ultimate aspect of guilt is sin. And in the Bible, it says the wages of sin is death. So our belief in our guilt and our being a sinner, it's like we're heading toward death. But for the ego, as it says in A Course in Miracles, death isn't good enough because part of us thinks, oh, the end of suffering. But the ego says, I'm going to chase you right past death. I'm going to put you in hell. And usually we're in hell beforehand. We just want to die. Okay. So now take these gifts: unconditional love, innocence, safety. And this is another thing I learned in A Course in Miracles. It says, give your gifts to God and they can be increased 1,000 or 10, even 10,000 times. Go for the 10,000, Betty. 10,000 times these gifts are expanding, and then they'll be given back to you. And you can give them to your 1-year-old. Yippee! Woohoo! And then you can give it to your family. And in the sharing, this is my gift to give. I
It's
can give safety. I can give innocence. I can give unconditional love. Look out, boyfriend. This podcast will end soon.
it's and it's my mom's birthday on Sunday, so this is very
Oh,
good.
wonderful. Yeah. So now, what's the soul gift you specifically brought in for your mother
Yeah,
for
it's
this life?
self-love. Self-love.
So can you take this gift and give it to heaven to be multiplied thousands of times and then share it with your mom?
Glowing,
Mm.
sparkling. Mhm.
Okay. What I have found is that when there are traumas in the womb,
Mhm.
that it the trauma the trauma in your life, like 1 year old, corresponds to a trauma you had at 1 month old in the womb. And to fully get the pattern out of there, let's go back to 1 month in the womb and just use your intuition. I mean, how big are you at 1 month? And people said, nah, this stuff can't be true. But what I know, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. And I love pudding. So anyhow, here you are at 1 month. You're just one cell, 2 cells, 4 cells, and you keep until you become that little baby tadpole. But see, we're psychic sponges when we're in the womb. Anything going on around us, we personalize it. It's all my fault. It's if it was, but nobody knew you were there. But what did you blame yourself for at 1 month? What was going on, and who was it going on with, if you were to know?
Special already. Yeah, my dad, my mom, they were again. They were, of course, they were fighting and struggling and
Mhm. Now,
needed to know.
when you have parents who are fighting a lot, it tears a kid apart, or you completely dissociate, which means you buried where you're torn apart. Okay, so now inside, um, this you with this much pressure, with parents always fighting, you either become a lump of coal or you become that diamond. And I think you like diamonds, don't you, Betty?
Yes,
Did you come to be a diamond, my dear?
of course.
This is taking those forces that were shaping you and turning them in heaven's direction, turning them toward truth. So here you are back at one. You can ask Mother Mary to bring you and the family back to heaven's path.
Yeah, it becomes in an instant, it becomes calm and peaceful.
Because heaven's path always has holy family bonding. It restores a true order. And now, what's the soul gift you brought in for your family when you're just as, I mean, you're just as big physically, but soul wise, you're still this immense being.
Yeah, it's
And
sorry, it's a true family bonding.
mm, so, can you give this gift to to God, have it be multiplied 10,000 times? Go for the big one.
Mm, very touching. Mhm.
And can you now share it with your family
Mm, sweet. Mhm.
and share it in your mind's eye with three families that need some bonding?
Mhm.
Basically, all families can use more and more bonding. The more bonding there is, the less problems there are. There's a level of peace, there's a level of safety. And, you know, see, when we lose bonding, love and sex get separated. And then if you follow just sex, after a while, it becomes, yeah, I've been there, done that. And you reach dead zone stages and things like this. But to restore by healing at these deep levels, love and sex together, it becomes intimacy. It becomes that love that just refreshes and brings alive. Intimacy is the fuel that makes success because it brings meaning, it brings connection, and we restore ourselves. I mean, we're meant to be as boundless in power as God because that's how he created us. I studied a lot of theology growing up, first in a Catholic seminary and then, just, to study Buddhism and Hinduism and things like this. And as they get to the top, they're very similar, just, but the Course in Miracles was the best thing I found to fit psychology. Because if it doesn't fit psychology, the theology is just a little, you're just asking people to believe things that don't fit. But
Mhm.
because the Course in Miracles fits psychologically, I could restore my sense of not in being religious, but in being spiritual. We're all on a spiritual path. We're all unfolding to win ourselves back for where we lost ourselves. And life can be this adventure of healing, of knowing yourself, loving yourself. And then what happens is that when that happens, you just want to share it.
That's true. It's very true. Mm.
And that makes you even happier.
Mhm.
And then you have a certain confidence. Oh, I have this gift. I can share it because you've shared it so many times. And that's why I asked you to share that with three different families.
Yeah, it directly popped in. Very sweet. And more to come.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, what percentage of yourself did you win back?
80%.
Ooh, look out, world. Here comes here comes innocence. Here comes self-love. Here comes safety.
That's really a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then we stop judging and attacking. And which is just, that comes back to us as fear and as problems.
Very true. Mm.
So can you feel this kind of like when I tune into you now, I feel you more shining.
Mhm. It was a very big one, even the numbers. I feel, yeah, what pops up is more adult, of course, more,
Yeah.
more
And
me.
healing restores our maturity, which is really helpful for our partners and our children and our parents. And, we're not such a pain in the ass then.
Yes.
Because we're wounded, we're frightened, and we act out of fear, and we are reactive rather than responsive. I mean, and if let's say your partner attacks you, but you're just loving him, then typically within a day or two, he comes back and thanks you. I mean, I've seen this in my own life, and it's like for not reacting, for not taking the bait, for just hearing the call for help. I mean, I learned this from A Course in Miracles. It's like there's only love in the world. Love is what makes the world work. Okay, underneath all of the fear and the attack and destruction, and which is the ego. And but underneath it, there's the call for love. So if we see everything as either love or the call for love, then our life becomes simpler. All the problems come down to, oh, love and a call for love. And even with ourselves, we're more self-forgiving if we realize, oh, I just needed help. And as you give help, you're given all the help you need. You know, like it seems in my life, I've been asked to go and teach around the world, and sometimes I had to be away. The toughest thing for me about this was being away from Lindsay and the kids when they were not traveling with me. And that was the toughest thing. And but I trusted that as I gave help, that if my children ever really needed help, if my wife ever really needed help, help would be available. There would be those people who would be dedicated to helping them as I've been dedicated to helping the world. And I just had faith in that. And it's what allowed me to be away from them. And to keep connecting up with them, to call and you know I mean, it used to be in the early days when Lindsay was home with the babies. Every day I would write a postcard for Lindsay, and I'd write a postcard for Chris. And then later it was a postcard for Chris and a postcard for Jem and Lindsay. And so every day, Lindsay would take out her postcard and read it, and then take out the postcard for Chris and read it, and postcard for Jem to read it. But I just wanted to keep that connection. And now, we have more sophisticated means, and you can call all over the world for basically nothing. But I wish I had known even back then, which time is simultaneous. Like I can go back there and send my light to connect up with my son and my daughter and my wife, and to restore the possibility of bonding and oneness.
Very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what heals. The biggest problem is separation. And so our bonding is what frees us. So the ego says, oh, yeah, that'll get you over fights. But now let's get you into fusion, which mimics bonding. And the extent to which you have um, these kind of feelings of fusion inside, there's no room for partners. There's no room for partnership.
A big trap. Mm.
It's a big trap. So you go from one where joining is the answer, and true joining is the answer with deadness and sacrifice and all that. But it looks like you're joining. It looks like you're helping, but you help at the expense of yourself. And that's never heaven's plan.
And how come, how can one identify which kind of helping? Is there something maybe which people are asking themselves now?
by how it feels.
Mhm.
If you feel good, it was love that you gave, or whatever you did out of love. So then it doesn't cost you. Sacrifice costs you. So this is a thing where I veered away from normal Christianity, which talks about sacrifice as the way forward. Now, I was like sacrificial when I was a kid, and I'd hear this story of Abraham going to sacrifice his son Isaac because he thought that's what God wanted. I'd always cry. I never knew why. It's because I did that to myself, and the guilt that goes with it.
Mhm.
Of course, I blame myself for what happened in my family.
Mhm.
But layer by layer, I've dug my way out of that, to find my innocence, to be able to pass that on to my kids and to my wife. And it's learning because we have separation from everything. All the pain in our life shows where we had separation. And we're blaming someone for it. But underneath judgment and blame and grievances, there's our guilt.
Mhm.
And there's our self-attack when you have guilt.
Mhm.
And so that's the illusion. And to free ourselves from that. And so more every day, like this thing that we did about you joining yourself
Mhm.
20,000 steps away. Tomorrow, there's probably a new layer that comes up. Maybe it's only 2 steps away. Or maybe it's something from a past life and there's many steps away. Or there's something from ancestral being passed down many steps away, or something from the astral.
Mhm. Mhm.
But all of that stuff can be healed. That's heaven's plan. So when we get on heaven's track, we can transform that.
It feels really good. Yeah.
And my life has just been a way of finding how to get people out of pain, which is how to get myself out of pain and stupidity. And chilling. So anyhow, the ego takes our creativity and turns it into giving us, problems that look unsolvable. And if I find a problem with someone that's unsolvable, yeah, I know there's just more for me to learn. There's more for me to heal. So I can be responsive to and helpful to the call for help in front of me.
We all can do that. Yeah. We all do that.
Yeah. And imagine, you know, two people joining their minds together to help the whole world.
Mhm.
In A Course in Miracles in the Bible, in a few other spiritual texts, it says, anytime two people join their minds together, it becomes a sure thing.
Mhm.
But we have so many different goals and so many hidden agendas that keep us from that. But each time we commit to that, and each time we commit to that with a partner,
Mhm.
it multiplies the effect. See, there's, you probably read about couples who have fights.
Just, just in TV shows, movies.
So, and basically, the bottom line fight is like, who's right,
Mhm.
you know, and who's going to win here. But it's basically my way and their way. But there's a way to short circuit the fight. One aspect is to join your partner. Wait a second, surrender? No way. I would die before I surrendered. But the thing is, you're not giving in to their way, you're joining them. That's what real surrender is. When you join them, the differences fall away and you go on to the next level, or the next my way and their way.
Mhm.
Or when there's obvious that it's your way and their way, you choose a third way, which is heaven's way,
Best, the best way.
the best way. You know, in A Course in Miracles, it says that this is the Holy Spirit's way. This is the way where everybody wins, not only now, but forever. Could you imagine that?
Totally. But I think what happens to me is forgetting about it.
Right. So how can you remember to call in the
Okay.
Tao, the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
to trust the process,
Yeah. Mm.
to take yourself off the hook, to forgive yourself? Because if you attack yourself, here's the thing I found. If you're attacking yourself, you don't learn the lesson that this problem or event is causing because you're too busy attacking yourself. Now, if you're attacking yourself, guess what you're going to do to your partner? You're going to make sashimi out of them. And
Think that. Mm.
and the thing is, at a soul level, at an unconscious level, there's subconscious, which is from conception on, but there's the unconscious, which is our whole soul pattern. Our partner is acting out how we used to be, and we're acting out how they used to be. And we go, that way is wrong. That way won't get me home. That way won't make me happy. And they're going, your way won't make me happy because they split off your way because they suffered doing it your way and they got rid of that part, except you showed up like a bad penny and said, you thought you swept this under the rug. Here I am. And if you think you can get away with it with your partner, then your kids go, hey, mom, guess what? Remember this part you swept under the rug? Here I am. And so it's just being willing to learn the lessons and let heaven help us.
Being adventurous.
Yeah, it's the discovery of knowing yourself
Mm.
because it takes you all the way back to knowing God and knowing that you're one with God. So people who get to that level, they get to that, I'm one with God. And basically, A Course in Miracles says this solves everything. You spend time being one with God. This is your prayer, and God knows what you need. So you just hang out in all that love, and that solves everything. And it frees the world. And the Course in Miracles calls that the atonement. And it's restoration of what we lost in order to be separate and get our way. And to say we could do it better than God did it. Watch me. And look at what this world proves about what a good job we did.
Yeah.
Oopsie, my bad. Entschuldigung. Gomennasai. Depichi.
One point could be for all of us watching this, just really start hanging out with God every day for at least, I don't know, 10 minutes.
Wow.
Baptism
You
with
know,
this.
it's like the ego and all of its form would begin to melt because the form separates and emotions like guilt and fear, revenge, all those emotions separate us. But our love brings us together. Our love allows us to feel the joy. And the ego hates that. So it wants destruction and it wants self destruction. But that's not the truth. That's not heaven's plan for us. Like this, here we are in this incarnation, no matter what stage we are in our lives, and we can learn, we can heal, we can grow, we can transcend. But it's this world, as Buddha said, is the illusion, is the dream. And he also said, 2,500 years ago, it's my mind that makes the dream. So it's all going on inside us. So as we learn to heal ourselves, as we learn to ask for help, for God's sakes, because when we have a problem, we need help. And in so many places, we think, um, my mother didn't give it to me. My father didn't give it to me. And then we blame them. And then, of course, we bring all the blame we haven't healed with our parents and we bring it on to our partners. Well, they deserve to pay the bill. They love us. So it's like, and that's a sense of privilege. And, you know, you owe it to me. You're my mother. You owe it to me. You're my father. But that entitlement is completely traps us. And it blinds us to the fact that if a parent doesn't give you something, they didn't have it to give. Tens of thousands of parents I've talked to, and they just feel helpless sometimes to give what their kids need because they never got it themselves and they don't know how to get it. But see, you are entitled because you're God's child. And this is true entitlement, not our ego's entitlement and go, you're wrong and you're bad, bad mom. I just wrote a chapter title this morning talking with my last client called The Bad Moms Club. In my whole experience of talking with tens of thousands of people, I found one woman who thought she was a good mom. So I was like, whoa. So I start talking to her about it. After 10 minutes, she thought, no, I'm a horrible mom.
Oh, no.
You know, it's pulled back the covers of her denial, but then she could heal it. Then she could deal with it and get back to the good moms club. Because that's the truth. I mean, what I learned early on in the 70s is we're all doing the best we can.
This is very true. Yeah.
If we knew how to do it better, we would have done it better. So, but give up the self-attack, which is it's the biggest problem in the world. If you give up the self-attack, you can learn the lesson.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for this incredible session again with you. More to come in a week to go.
More
8
to
days
come.
of
Yippee.
self-love and transformation for us and for the world. Thank you. See you soon. See you in a week. Thanks
Hey,
for being
see
with
you
us.
soon. Thank you, Betty. It's
Bye.
always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.